LSU Heath Shreveport delivers innovation, life-saving healthcare, and cutting-edge medical research to our community and beyond. As North Louisiana's only academic medical center, we are aiming high in every aspect of our mission to teach, heal, and discover. Our delivery of medical education took a giant leap forward this year with the opening of the Center for Medical Education. This $79 million building is among the elite medical education facilities in the nation. It has transformed the student educational experience and elevated student wellness programs. LSU President William Tate IV demonstrated his aiming high mindset when he announced at the public opening of the Center for Medical Education in December that he was excited about being at LSU as a place where you can win a Heisman Trophy and a Nobel Prize. With LSU already having a recent Heisman winner, he encouraged the crowd to imagine the pride and excitement of having an LSU Heath Shreveport scientist winning the Nobel Prize. LSU Heath Shreveport is proud to play a leading role in healing our community. Over 70% of the healthcare professionals in North Louisiana receive their education and training at one of our professional schools. And we are aiming high to increase our community's access to medical professionals even more by adding new healthcare degree programs. Within our clinical enterprise, Ochsner LSU Health System, we are developing more areas of specialized care to benefit our patients and the local economy as we strive to become a destination healthcare facility. An example of this is our goal to renovate the McDade House to provide cancer patients at our Feistweiler Cancer Center a comfortable, restful place to stay while receiving treatment. Medical research at LSU Heath Shreveport is on the rise, with external research funding increasing more than 300% in the last 10 years. And we continue to aim high with a goal to continue this steep upward trajectory of extramural research funding. LSU Heath Shreveport has been educating the next generation of medical doctors, allied health professionals, and scientists for over 50 years. Thank you for being here tonight to support LSU Heath Shreveport as we continue to aim high.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and welcome to an evening for healers. Y'all are a rowdy crowd. We're trying to get you to sit down. Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Flood, President and CEO of the LSU Health Sciences Foundation. I hope you enjoyed that intro video. More about that in a moment. But first, I want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with our brothers and sisters in South Louisiana who are dealing with the after effects of Hurricane Francine. I know many of them are without power. Some had their homes flooded. And so please know that we are thinking about them. I hope that you caught on to the intro video's theme, aiming high. It's a mantra we often use at LSU Heath Shreveport because whether we are educating the next generation of healthcare professionals, caring for patients, or discovering the next medical breakthrough, we aim high. The same can be said for the healers and heroes who sprang into action to save Mackenzie and Clay's lives. You'll hear this aiming high theme throughout the night. Our purpose tonight, if this is your first time, I know many of us have been here for 13 years, but if this is your first time, our purpose tonight is really threefold. First, it's to honor our healthcare heroes and first responders, to shine a light on the community gem that is LSU Heath Shreveport, and then to raise crucial funding to support its mission. As you saw in the video, our institution is so much more than a medical school. We train hundreds of physicians, allied health professionals, and scientists each year. Our faculty work to find cures to some of the most complex diseases. And we don't do this alone. Our other theme for this evening is Together Stronger. LSU Heath Shreveport has many partners who, working together, make each other and our community stronger. Ochsner Health and LSU Health, under the umbrella of our teaching hospital, the Ochsner LSU Health System, deliver excellent patient care and learning opportunities for our community. LSU Heath Shreveport values its partnerships with our sister LSU campuses, where together we are the flagship university of our state. I'm so glad that Dr. Robert Smith and leadership from LSUS are here with us tonight. Thank you, Dr. Smith. And our friends in the state legislature, state agencies, and local governments are vital partners to our success as well. But I must share with you, in my estimation, our most valuable partner is you, our community. It was this community which almost 70 years ago voiced the demand for a new medical school to be located in Northwest Louisiana. It is you, this community, that ever since then has been behind every success and triumph of this great institution. And it is this community that has supported this event for 13 years and raised millions of dollars to enhance our academic health center. You allow us to dream big and aim high. Together, you make us stronger. To all of our partners, we say thank you. Thank you. We gather tonight to celebrate heroes, healing, and hope. Since An Evening for Healers began in 2011, we have told 27 inspiring patient stories. We've honored more than 900 of our community's most dedicated first responders, physicians, and allied health professionals. It is our privilege to carry on this tradition tonight by celebrating the unsung heroes and healers who brought hope to two families facing their darkest hour. So much of this year's success is thanks to our 2024 event chairs, Mike and Dr. Caitlin Busada. They both have many close ties with LSU Heath Shreveport. Caitlin is a graduate of our medical school, and she stayed here for her residency. And in 2019, she joined our faculty, and now she educates the next generation of OBGYNs. And I'm so proud that Mike serves on our foundation board. Together, they have supported An Evening for Healers for many years, and Caitlin herself has been honored as a healer numerous times. I'd now like to ask Father Daniel Bethencourt, pastor of the Busada's home church, St. Nicholas Orthodox Church, to provide tonight's invocation.
Dear friends, in the Christian tradition, we find a striking emphasis on how the world is infused with the uncreated grace or energy of the living God. In the words of the great poet Gerard Manley Hopkins, the world is charged with the grandeur of God. Or as it says in the Psalms, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament proclaimeth his handiwork. All of creation points us to the Logos, the Word of God, who gives ordered structure and sublime beauty to the created world. And when we approach the sciences, including, of course, the health sciences, in this spirit, we're humbled and filled with wonder. From the function of the mitochondria in the cell to the magnetosphere of the earth, shielding us from the sun's radiation, all the world is speaking to us, if we have eyes to see and ears to hear, of the glory of God and his loving providence for us. And all of creation, from the ox and the ass who know their master's crib to the heavens above, all of creation gives praise to God. But as human beings, we are continually faced with the choice whether to glorify God or not. May we be inspired by the stories we hear tonight to be angels of mercy to all those around us. And may our research and our pursuit of preventative and palliative care be such that it glorifies God and harmonizes with His design for the world. And now let's ask the Lord's blessing to be upon our meal and our time together this evening. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. O Lord Jesus Christ, our true God, the lover of mankind, who became a human being for our salvation, the physician of our souls and bodies, bless this food and drink of your servants, and bless our time together this evening. Fill our hearts with gratitude for your providence and your mercy, and enable us truly to glorify you in our thoughts, words, and deeds. For you are holy, and unto you we send up glory, honor, and worship, together with your Father who is without beginning, and your all-holy and good and life-giving Spirit, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Father Bethencourt. Before dinner is served, I'd like to recognize some important people who are here with us tonight. We're privileged to have many of our past event chairs with us this evening. Would all past chairs please stand to be recognized? Thank you for all of your help for the past 13 years to make this event so special. I'd also like to thank the outstanding foundation staff that we have, in particular Katie Bursley, and everyone at LSU Heath Shreveport, in particular Lisa Babin, who make this night possible. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and they work hard. One of the best things about this event is that there's now a fraternity of past patients that have almost come together, and they support each other, and it's a wonderful family. We're grateful to have 9 past patients and their families with us tonight. These individuals have trusted us with their most challenging moments in life and allowed us to share their stories of triumph. It's inspiring to see you all here today. Let's give them a round of applause. As I mentioned earlier, LSU Heath Shreveport is grateful for our governmental partners and elected officials. We have many in the audience. Would members of the Louisiana Legislature, the Shreveport City Council, Caddo Parish Commission, as well as Shreveport Mayor Arsenault and Bossier City Mayor Chandler, please stand or raise your hand so that we may recognize you. From the very beginning of his time in office as LSU president, Dr. William Tate has demonstrated a level of support for our institution in North Louisiana, the likes of which we have not experienced in many years. This continues to hold true as President Tate had arranged for nearly 40 LSU leaders to join us tonight, because he has seen personally how inspiring and impactful this event has become. Unfortunately, these leaders needed to remain in Baton Rouge and at their respective campuses to deal with any aftermath from Hurricane Francine. But please, let's recognize what LSU means for us and for our state. Go Tigers! I just want to say I went to Ole Miss, so hotty toddy. I have purple socks on. All right. We are fortunate to have some important LSU friends, though, in the audience with us tonight. The LSU Board of Supervisors are volunteers who commit a tremendous amount of their time to help LSU aim high and achieve great things for our state. We have several supervisors with us tonight: Valencia Jones, Rebecca Bonyal, and Emily Atkins. Would you all please stand so that we may recognize you in your service? I have the privilege of working alongside our LSU Heath Shreveport Foundation board members, and I'm so honored that so many of them are with us tonight. Would our chairman, Tom Ossendorf, and the foundation board of directors please stand? Thank you to each of you for sharing your time and talents for the benefit of LSU Heath Shreveport. We'll now pause for dinner. I will say, I have a little announcement to make. You might have seen it on the screen, I think. But for the first time, our meal tonight is completely gluten-free. I know my wife is excited. So dig into the bread basket, enjoy yourself. The service staff has asked that you please remain seated until the full dinner is served.
I've been roaming around, always looking down, and all I see the painted faces for the places I can't reach. You know that I could use somebody. Yeah. You know that I could use somebody. Someone like you, and all you know, and how you speak. Countless lovers on the cover of the street. You know that I could use somebody. Yeah. You know that I could use somebody. Someone like you. Someone like you. Hey. Having the night while you live it up, I'm off to sleep. Waging war to save the poor and the beat. Oh, it's gonna make you notice. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna make you notice. Someone like me. Someone like me. Yeah. Someone like me. Somebody. Someone like me. Somebody. Yeah. Someone like me, somebody. Someone like me, somebody.
Just real quick, we've heard that several of you weren't able to really watch the video. So right before we get back to the program itself, we're just going to play that video one more time because we're so proud of how LSU Heath Shreveport is aiming high.
LSU Heath Shreveport delivers innovation, life-saving healthcare, and cutting-edge medical research to our community and beyond. As North Louisiana's only academic medical center, we are aiming high in every aspect of our mission to teach, heal, and discover. Our delivery of medical education took a giant leap forward this year with the opening of the Center for Medical Education. This $79 million building is among the elite medical education facilities in the nation. It has transformed the student educational experience and elevated student wellness programs. LSU President William Tate IV demonstrated his aiming high mindset when he announced at the public opening of the Center for Medical Education in December that he was excited about being at LSU as a place where you can win a Heisman Trophy and a Nobel Prize. With LSU already having a recent Heisman winner, he encouraged the crowd to imagine the pride and excitement of having an LSU Heath Shreveport scientist winning the Nobel Prize. LSU Heath Shreveport is proud to play a leading role in healing our community. Over 70% of the healthcare professionals in North Louisiana receive their education and training at one of our professional schools. And we are aiming high to increase our community's access to medical professionals even more by adding new healthcare degree programs. Within our clinical enterprise, Ochsner LSU Health System, we are developing more areas of specialized care to benefit our patients and the local economy as we strive to become a destination healthcare facility. An example of this is our goal to renovate the McDade House to provide cancer patients at our Feist-Weiler Cancer Center a comfortable, restful place to stay while receiving treatment. Medical research at LSU Heath Shreveport is on the rise, with external research funding increasing more than 300% in the last 10 years. And we continue to aim high with a goal to continue this steep upward trajectory of extramural research funding. LSU Heath Shreveport has been educating the next generation of medical doctors, allied health professionals, and scientists for over 50 years. Thank you for being here tonight to support LSU Heath Shreveport as we continue to aim high.
Great. We're going to continue with the dinner service, but we'll also start the rest of our program. So tonight, we will hear two stories of perseverance that will showcase a deeply skilled group of healers and heroes. Every year, our hope is that you leave this building inspired, moved, and exceptionally grateful for this academic health center, its role in our community, and the thousands of healers and heroes who are there when we need them. I can tell you we continue to be overwhelmed with the level of support our sponsors provide for this event each year. It is truly incredible. You are truly our partners. You've seen our sponsor names in the program, on the screens throughout the room, and the signage out front. Tonight simply would not be possible without them, without you. As I said earlier, it's our sponsors, our community, who have been behind every success at LSU Heath Shreveport. Thank you to each and every sponsor for your partnership and commitment. Let's give a round of applause for all of our sponsors. I would especially like to thank our presenting sponsor, Ochsner Health. This is the 6th year in a row that Ochsner Health has been the presenting sponsor of an Evening for Healers. To all of the Ochsner Health and Ochsner LSU Health representatives in the room, I want to thank you for your commitment to our institution in North Louisiana. With us tonight, representing Ochsner Health, is Mr. Corwin Harper, CEO of the Ochsner LSU Health System. Please help me in welcoming Corwin to the stage.
First of all, good evening, everyone. And I was told 20 times to go slow and not go fast. And I'm already going to break rules, Linnea, and recite a quote that I penned in October of 2016. And that quote is simply, "I am one human being living in one human race, working to create one humane world." And at the end of the day, it is about humanity, and great humans heal other humans. So I just want to give all the great humanitarians and the great healers in this room a wonderful round of applause for what you do. So I want to thank you right now. So thank you, Kevin, for including me in such an incredible event tonight. Ochsner Health is proud to be the presenting sponsor for an evening of healers. This meaningful event invites us to celebrate those who run into dangerous places, care deeply for all of humanity, and do God's work here on earth. And I am honored to be here to represent Ochsner Health and Ochsner LSU Health System. And I want to say a big thank you to my friend, Dr. David Guzik, the Chancellor of LSU Heath Shreveport, for his leadership, knowledge, and vision. As a brief aside, not in the notes, we actually first met in a coffee shop downtown Shreveport. And we spent 2 hours talking about the possibility, but more important, the vision of Ochsner LSU Health and this wonderful medical school. So again, Dr. Guzik, I thank you. I've had the incredible opportunity to work with Dr. Guzik for almost a year. And we are not only colleagues and teammates, but I consider him a great friend. Together, we are continuing a phenomenal partnership and building a strategic plan that will anchor us as we lead LSU Heath Shreveport and Ochsner LSU Health into the future. Together, we are stronger. And as you hear the stories told tonight, know that our future is bright. The partnership between Ochsner Health and LSU, which is Ochsner LSU Health System, has come a long way, baby, since it was created in 2018. And to that end, I want to thank Pete November, the CEO of Ochsner Health, and William Tate, the president of LSU, for their courageous leadership of two of the most successful and recognizable entities in the great state of Louisiana, as we continue to move forward in the partnership. So thank you to those great leaders. This partnership has experienced great success through incredible growth, advances in technology, remarkable improvements in quality, and expanded access to care. Ochsner Health is committed to this partnership and the communities it serves, and these accomplishments are evidence of that commitment. But I am not a rear-view mirror kind of guy. I'm a windshield guy. I believe in looking forward. And what I see in our future is the opportunity to not only becoming a premier academic health system in our region of the country, but more importantly, I see a future that allows us to continue to focus on and improve the health of the residents of the great state of Louisiana, and especially North Louisiana. Thank you. Our focus together is both societal as well as economic impact. And I've shared this with a couple of board members tonight, that we as healthcare leaders, we represent a pillar industry in the opportunity to have a greater economy in North Louisiana. When people can get and stay healthy, it creates stronger families and also a stronger workforce and ultimately a stronger economy. It is exciting for me to envision the possibility of how we're going to play a role in making it a reality. So to all the first responders, we thank you. To all the clinicians, we thank you. To all the healthcare workers, the support staff, to all of our tremendous physicians who have the heart of gold, to our healthcare administrators joining us from peer organizations tonight, we thank you. The work you do each day in caring for the citizens of this vibrant community is truly a high calling, and we thank you. I am honored to be among you, to work with you, and to care for those we serve together, because together we will be stronger. The stories we will hear tonight are not just a snapshot of the work that happens every day at Ochsner LSU Health and its communities, but I will tell you, our care teams do not accept good enough. We keep raising the bar and we keep aiming high, aiming high. They go to great lengths to treat illness and injury. In doing so, they save lives. When you combine the highest levels of expertise with empathy and unwavering compassion, the miracles of healing happen. I am honored to be a part of such an inspirational night of celebrating those who heal not only the patients who come through our doors, but also the hearts and minds of their loved ones. Many times when people come to us, they are scared and hurting. Our teams of physicians and clinicians are the very best when it comes to taking care of the whole human. They work very closely as a team, and they have open hearts and are willing to make sacrifices to ensure the best possible care for our patients and our neighbors. And these healers and great humanitarians are the doctors and clinicians who train the next generation of healthcare leaders for the generations to come, which makes me especially proud to be a part of this partnership and the future we will have as we forge it together. The stories you'll see tonight show the strength of the Oxnard-LSU Health System partnership and the incredible collaboration that saves lives. Thank you for supporting this great cause, and most of all, thank you to all of you who put love into action to save and change their lives through the miracles of healing. We're grateful to you, and we celebrate you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Corwin. Thank you for your leadership and your service. It's now my pleasure to invite to the stage our Chancellor at LSU Heath Shreveport, Dr. David Guzik. Dr. Guzik.
Thank you, Kevin. I do have some prepared remarks, but before I get into that, I just want to thank Corwin for his kind words. And I want to also recall our 2-hour cup of coffee when we first met a couple of months before Corwin began work at Oxnard-LSU Heath Shreveport, Oxnard-LSU Health System, and to say that what we found was that we had complementary experiences and skills, but we had the same vision. And the vision that he talked about in terms of the magic of healing and the power of healing, the special thing about an academic health center is that that then translates into an educational process and research output that creates a virtuous circle, and it creates even more healing and better clinical practice, and then turns around to attract better students, better faculty, and more stature from research. So I'm going to comment a little bit about research and make an announcement in my prepared remarks. But it would not be possible. It would not be possible to do that without the resources that have been provided and will be provided in the future through this clinical partnership. So I'll just begin by saying that it is an honor and privilege to serve as the Chancellor of LSU Heath Shreveport. And it's an extraordinarily humbling experience, but uplifting to visualize here in a way that feels personal to me, and I'm sure to all of our heroes, the magnitude of support that this community gives to our institution. In 2018, LSU Heath Shreveport partnered with Oxnard Health to create a 50-50 clinical enterprise called the Oxnard-LSU Health System, or OLHS. This partnership, combining healthcare facility operation and medical school faculty practice, has made tremendous strides in all aspects of clinical service. Indeed, the stirring and inspiring patient care stories that we will share this evening are poignant examples. We are now integrating this OLHS clinical enterprise with LSU faculty who focus on research and education across all three of our schools: School of Medicine, School of Allied Health Professions, School of Graduate Studies. And in so doing, we're creating the only true academic health center in a 200-mile radius, extending to Dallas to the west, Little Rock to the north, and Jackson to the east. A high-performing academic health center can have a major impact on its community and region. Aiming high, our goal is to have the same kind of impact on Shreveport-Bossier and North Louisiana that UAB has had on Birmingham and North Alabama. Consistent with this goal, our research program is now expanding rapidly, so much so that we will soon be out of research space. LSU Heath Shreveport desperately needs a research building. To this end, I am very excited to announce tonight that we will be reimagining the Sears building at Mall St. Vincent as a cancer and cardiovascular research building. And it might look something like that. We're reimagining the Sears building to become a cancer and cardiovascular research building. The Sears property is now under contract to our foundation. And I want to emphasize that without a single dollar of state funding, this Sears building will be reimagined, financed, and built out as a laboratory research facility to house existing LSU scientists, but many, many more to be recruited, who will make new discoveries and cures for cancer and cardiovascular disease. At the same time, these new scientists, along with their grant funding and families, and their staff and their families, will be moving to Shreveport-Bossier and will have an economic multiplier effect on the region. This is what Together Stronger is all about. We as a community can do this. So on this aiming high note, let me again thank you all for your tremendous support of LSU Health Shreveport and our healers and heroes. Thank you.
How cool is that about the Sears building? I can't tell you how excited we are at the foundation to be the ones to make this possible, not only for LSU Health Shreveport, not only for the South Highlands neighborhood, but for Shreveport, for Bossier City, for Northwest Louisiana. The opportunities are limitless with this, so we're very excited. Thank you, Dr. Gusick, for your remarks. As you know, President Tate was unable to be with us tonight, where he was going to share some remarks as well. But I want you to know, maybe I should have told you this ahead of time, but we've been live streaming this event the entire time. So I hope you haven't acted up. But I just wanted to, hopefully President Tate is at home watching this right now, so I just wanted to say hello, President Tate. All right, we'll now begin the heart of this evening, our patient stories. Many of you may be familiar with the anxiety of sending your child off to college for the first time. But imagine getting a call that your daughter has collapsed at her college soccer practice and you're more than 1,000 miles away. This is Mackenzie's story.
So I was born in Boise, Idaho. I was raised there for a couple years, and then we moved down to the western slopes of Colorado.
Mackenzie played baseball, basketball, soccer. Soccer was her passion.
I am a competitive soccer player on Louisiana Tech Division I soccer team, so soccer is a really big part of my life. This just felt like home. I loved the coaches. I loved the girls that I stayed with. It just felt like a good community.
Mackenzie is the nicest, kindest, most loving person you've ever met until there's any type of competition to be had, and she's playing to win every day, all day.
Typically with NCAA schools, they have a start date. Well, a lot of the schools have their girls come down early and start training with captains and captains-led training just so they can get a jump on the season.
If you can get here early and you can start training in the climate that we're going to be playing in consistently, it is certainly a very helpful exercise.
She went down on July 19th, stayed with the captain in her house on her couch, and just was going to do captains-led trainings before they officially started on August 1st.
I don't remember anything on that day. From what I heard on July 25th, it was kind of just a normal day. We went to training off campus on a soccer field because we wanted a goal, and I collapsed during warm-up and went into a cardiac arrest.
I got a call from one of our upperclassmen at the time, very distressed. You could tell in her voice that something was wrong.
When that call came in, we were less than a mile from where Mackenzie fell out. And then we had an engine that was within a mile's range that they're usually not there.
We were going to put fuel in our truck, which is about a half a mile from the ballpark where she was. Our response time from the time of dispatch was 2, 3, 4 minutes, something like that. Went straight to her and saw that she was in a bad way.
When we showed up, she was dead. I mean, she had no heartbeat, so she was dead.
Felt for a pulse, no pulse. Immediately went into CPR.
Got her loaded up on the stretcher.
Doing CPR, bagging her, getting her back in the ambulance. We can see that our chest compressions are effective on the cardiac monitor right away.
We had been doing compressions for 2 minutes, so we went ahead and did a rhythm check. And her rhythm check was ventricular fibrillation. That's a shockable rhythm, so we ended up shocking her. On our next pulse check, no pulse, but still ventricular fibrillation. And then we shocked her again. And our next rhythm check, she did have a pulse.
You always get that initial relief, but in the back of your mind, you're knowing that it could go south quick again.
I got a phone call at 5:15, and I was like, why is she calling me? She should be training. And then that's when it was her teammate saying she had collapsed. You know, first you hear collapse, so you don't know details, and the teammate was saying, we'll call you when we get to the hospital.
Julie met me at the door, said, everything's okay, but your daughter had a training accident. She goes, well, she collapsed, but I've talked to the doctors, and she's okay. And so we started looking at flights, because it was like, well, maybe we'll fly her down, I'll wait a day, I'll pack up her car, I'll move her stuff so she's ready to move into the dorm. Because again, what's being relayed to us is minor incident, everything's fine. Well, as we started looking at flights and we started timing it out, it was actually going to be quicker if we just drove through the night.
Got a phone call a little after 2 a.m. saying she coded 3 times and she was put on a helicopter to life flight to Oshner, LSU.
They're going to admit her, so you're not going to hear anything for a couple hours. After a couple hours, you can call the hospital and get an update if they haven't called you. And so from about 2 to 4:30 in the morning in somewhere in northern Texas where I couldn't tell you, we didn't know if our daughter was alive. And it was probably the longest 2 hours of our life.
One of the doctors talked to me, and he kind of told me everything that was going on. And at that point, we hung up the phone, and I said, well, she was at a trauma center. She had the people, the team, the support around her. She's where she needs to be.
My first thought was there's no way she's going to make it. She was pale, no response to anything. She was breathing very irregular, eyes half open, just no life to her at all.
This was a life or death situation. My first thought was, I hope we're able to keep her alive long enough for her parents to make it to Shreveport to say goodbye to her. Out-of-hospital cardiac arrest have a significant increased risk of morbidity and mortality. Roughly 50% don't even make it into the hospital. And of those who do, they have lots of long-term complications. It does depend on how long their body goes without the heart pumping. I basically came to her bedside shortly after she arrived here to be able to evaluate her heart. We did a bedside echocardiogram to look and see the function of her heart. We checked her pacemaker out to make sure that it was functioning appropriately, and we're able to see that she did have the ventricular fibrillatory arrest, and then worked throughout that initial day with Dr. Keespe, who was the ICU doctor, to help adjust medications to keep her heart pumping as best as possible.
We showed up to Oshner, LSU at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
There was a line of nurses that were standing in front of the door trying to prepare us for what we were going to see. One, can't prepare any parent for that. And two, there was no stopping us. You know, we wanted to see our daughter.
We walked in and saw her, and, you know, it was obviously a complete shock. But it was great to see her, you know, alive.
I've seen a lot of kids with anoxic brain injuries. That's when you go without oxygen for a period of time. And she definitely exhibited some of those symptoms. And I was not encouraged that she would have a good outcome.
They decided to prone her, which means flip her over on her belly and see if we could oxygenate her better that way. While peds cardiology was extremely involved, Dr. Jones was trying to figure out what else she needed medication-wise.
I did initially think that she may not survive the first 24 hours. So we were able to keep her alive from that time frame and slowly began to adjust medicines, be able to take medicines off, be able to start different medicines to help her heart and the rest of her body recover over time.
At this point, it was more of we need to wait and see what her neurological status was going to be.
What they didn't know at that time was her cognitive ability. In that moment in time, the report back was Mackenzie was down from anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. They later kind of figured that out. There was probably more like 5 to 8, but even that type of time frame can have some serious impact on you cognitively, so they didn't know how she would wake up.
When you have a cardiac arrest, your heart is not pumping blood to the rest of the body. You're not getting oxygen. Oxygen is necessary to have functioning cells everywhere. The longer you go without oxygen, the more cells die. And it's estimated around 5 minutes is where you're going to have major loss of brain cells. I honestly would have expected her to be in a vegetative state.
Once I saw how she was, I kind of felt a little sad because I was worried that what I did see would be what we saw for the rest of her life.
I remember distinctly all she would do is look up and to the right. And then 1% of the time she'd look at you. I swear you could see her, and I would just continuously, and I know Julie would continuously just say, keep coming. We see you. Keep coming. But she couldn't cognitively do anything to anybody. And so we were talking with the medical staff around what's the next steps.
One of the things when her parents made it in that I talked to them about is we're going to talk about baby steps. When she wasn't responsive, when she started to be able to open her eyes, that was a huge step. When she started to be able to follow commands just by squeezing fingers, that was a huge step.
She slowly kind of started waking up. I think the first thing she was doing was she was blinking yes and no. And then I think the next day it was shaking her head yes and no, and then the next day she was mouthing words. At that point, we also felt, not that we were out of the woods in terms of everything, but that we were getting our daughter back.
Ultimately, when she was able to get out of bed was a giant step.
You're going fast, girl.
Yes, she is.
She was in the hospital for quite a long time with physical therapy evaluating her, occupational therapy evaluating her. Our nurses did a tremendous job of, trying to keep her improving every single day.
That's almost the whole length of the hallway.
Once we got Mackenzie a tracheostomy and got her peg, she was able to wean off the vent fairly quickly, way quicker than what we thought.
Getting the trach, she can get out of the hospital quicker. We can get her out of the bed easier. She can work with physical therapy. And then the feeding tube, we can give her medicines without having to have something in a tube in her nose taped to her face.
We could start seeing some of the neurological deficits that we kind of thought were there in the beginning.
After she regained consciousness, we slowly started to work on her long-term recovery and with the physical therapist and occupational therapist. Our initial goal after, she survived was to get her to a long-term rehabilitation facility, and we were able to get her to TIER in Houston, which is one of the top-ranked rehabilitation facilities in the United States.
Mackenzie was in Houston about a month. When Mac first arrived at TIER, she still couldn't move her right side of her body very well. She was quasi-walking with a little bit of assistance moving the leg. The right arm absolutely wasn't moving.
You could see the fight in her, that she just wanted to keep going. She just took everything in stride and just worked hard.
course, Mackenzie, being Mackenzie, who's completely driven as the day is long, was telling everybody from the hospital bed the moment she got there that she would be back playing soccer next year.
I worked my whole life to become a college athlete, so I wanted to keep trying to do that. I had to learn how to walk again, and once I started walking, I could do some more strength exercises and do some balance stuff.
It's incredible to be around somebody that never says, why me? Now, I will say, I said it for her probably 1,000 times. Why her? Why did this happen? And she's just said, it's okay. I'll get through this. And she's continuously doing that. Mackenzie has battled since day one. Mackenzie was born with a heart defect. From that moment, hasn't been stopped. She's had multiple surgeries, and it's just another thing that she comes over. It's sometimes unfair to think of somebody that's 18, will be 19 shortly, having to constantly fight that, but I couldn't think of somebody better.
Mackenzie's a rock star. She is just a good overall person. She is a fighter. She is driven to be the best person she can be. I believe that's what led to her outcome, was the fact that she has this innate drive to be the best, to do the most, to be everything.
I just think that it's an absolute miracle that she is still with us for one, but back to her lifestyle and able to play soccer again. Never in a million years would I have ever thought from that first day seeing her that she would be playing soccer again.
Thank you. We love you. Thanks for getting our daughter back.
I definitely changed my outlook on my life. I went through a serious traumatic event, so I just don't take life jokingly anymore. At the end of the day, your life is your life, so do it to the fullest. I know it's gonna be a hard journey, but I'm still here. I'm gonna do this.
Thank you, Mackenzie, for allowing us to tell your story. You have an incredible amount of determination. We wish you the best of luck at Louisiana Tech. Will Mackenzie's healers and heroes please stand and gather outside the hall where Foundation staff will escort you to the stage. Let's give them a round of applause. And now for our next story. April 19th, 2022 should have been a normal day for Clay Moock. But that day, his life changed forever when a pipeline he was inspecting ignited and severely burned him. I do want to make you aware that Clay's video contains graphic depictions of third-degree burns that some may find difficult to view. This is Clay's story.
Everything was on fire, including us. The two options I had were either to lay down and die or walk out. That was an easy choice. I work for a pipeline company transporting hydrocarbons across multiple states. My position at the company was environmental specialist, and my responsibility was to assess environmental spills or releases and then determine the proper way to get them cleaned up.
That morning, I was getting ready, and just like any normal morning for work, and I remember Clay coming to tell me goodbye. And he tapped me on my left shoulder, and I remember turning, giving him a kiss goodbye and telling him I loved him.
I got a text from one of the field guys showing me what the spill was. I essentially had to call Clay and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm wrapped up here at the house. Would you mind going to respond to this?
I packed up my bag and I jumped in the work truck and I headed to the location, which was on the east side of Barksdale Air Force Base. I arrived near the location and met some field operations hands who had a side-by-side. Two of us, a coworker and I, rode the side-by-side to go inspect the release. I was under the impression that the site was secure. We had no reason to believe there was any danger associated with the site. As we approached the release, the last thing I remember was seeing liquid hydrocarbons on the ground. Had we known that was the case, we would certainly not have been riding a side-by-side through them. So no sooner than I noticed these liquids did we hear a loud whoosh. Everything was on fire, including us. I immediately jumped out the passenger side of the side-by-side and started running for something that wasn't on fire. Beating flames with my hands as I went, trying to smother the fire. As soon as I got to an area that wasn't on fire, I just immediately hit the ground and rolled, and kept rolling until the flames were put out. I ended up in some thorn bushes laying on my back, just been screaming, God, no, not like this. I heard fire approaching, crackling through the grass, and that motivated me to get up. So I got up, I started walking, calling out for my coworker, who I eventually found. He was unable to walk. And so I began walking towards the road. I'm not sure how far I got, a couple of 100 feet, and then I saw a work truck with some of our employees coming towards us, so I stopped and waited. You know, I don't really know what allowed me to get up and walk. I'm stubborn. I don't like to be defeated. I didn't have much choice. What else was I going to do? Well, the two options I had were either to lay down and die or walk out, and that was an easy choice.
I remember lifting and I just see this plume of smoke over towards the Barksdale's base. We understood that there were two patients. We understood that one was taken off scene, en route by ground. As I make my way, I can see that I'm fixing to deal with a severely burned patient. He was a very charred individual. It was very hard to discern any identifying human characteristics. Everything in my assessment is telling me that we have to go. There are life-saving measures that have to happen immediately. I think about it a lot. When you hear someone ask you to please help them because of the state that they're in, it's very heartfelt. You realize that you still have your job to do, and you have to disassociate as much as you possibly can, because that's the job at hand. LSU Ochsner here is a level 1 trauma center. They can handle pretty much everything. They have a burn unit. So we knew that that's where we would be heading back. We gave him an estimate of 90% body surface area burn. We were talking 3rd degree burns. There was already gross blistering. There was skin already starting to slough off, hence me having to humeral head drill for an IV access. There was just no proper or normal body anatomy that is usually associated with burns. It was approximately a 5 to 6 minute flight to landing at LSU. They had all hands on deck. They worked beautifully. We delivered Clay to Trauma Baby, gave our report off to the trauma team, and we gather our things and we get out of the way.
My phone vibrated because I always kept it on silent at work. I picked it up and I looked at it and I saw the name, which was one of Clay's coworkers, and I was like, well, that's weird. He never calls me. Why would he be calling me in the middle of my day? He said, Trisha, I need you to get to Oshner, LSU. Clay is being airlifted because he's been in an accident. I knew he was serious and I just fell to the floor. I remember walking over to him, and he looked like my husband. His face wasn't all wrapped up. I saw Clay. I just told him that I loved him and that I was never going to leave his side, and we were going to get through it together.
His chances of death were basically at 100%. When we calculate out the formula to determine someone's survivability, it's the percentage of full-thickness burns, meaning third-degree burns, in their age. When you add those up, you're well past 100% in Clay's case. My journey with Clay and his wife Tricia was basically a daily, if not multiple times a day, meeting with his wife as his proxy.
I did not leave the hospital. I believe it was the first 3 months.
The entire time he was there, basically he was going into the operating room 3 to 4 times a week, and that continued for the 4 months stay. The surgical procedures are to remove any and all dead tissue that were thermally injured, and then the fatty tissues beneath it oftentimes have poor blood supply, so all of that tissue has to be removed as well. He had such limited area to harvest skin from that we actually had to rely on a process of growing his own skin in a laboratory in order to achieve coverage. Artificial skin and all of the biological products that are out there are only temporary coverages for a wound. You ultimately have to have the patient's own skin placed. With his situation, there was such limited donor site, we relied almost 100% on growing skin and culture in order to be able to start planting these grafts. You know, a 50% burn, you can expect to be in the hospital 5 weeks, 60%, 6 weeks. But once you get to a 70 or 80% burn, the limited available donor sites then throw us into an exponential length of time of being in the hospital. Clay had lots and lots of infectious complications that resulted in pretty much every complication that I've ever seen in caring for burn patients in my 40-year career.
He was severely ill. He was on machines to keep his breathing. He was on mechanical ventilation. He was on medication to maintain his blood pressure, and he was on renal replacement therapy because his kidney at some point was shut down due to the illness and the severity of the infection. Definitely was a deadly infection. We reached that level, no treatment will work against this bacteria. Luckily, there was a phase 3 trial just finished a few months prior to that date, but wasn't FDA approved yet. That was the only hope remained at that point. Within a few days, we got the shipment of the medication, and we started the treatment on that Saturday. It was like something changed within 24 hours, 36 hours, and we started having this glimmer of hope that Clay gonna make it.
These patients are fighting a tremendous battle, and the last thing people think about are the eyes. Any ocular burn patient who has burns to the eyelids, they're in a real risk zone as far as if nothing is done, they could lose vision. The first time I saw him, he had at least one suture in each eyelid. They always get worse before they get better, so he started to contract some. The sutures were holding for the most part. A couple times he would break them because patience is very irritating, so I actually had to redo a couple of his tarsorrhaphies. I think he got 3 in one eye and 2 in the other, which is, you know, it's an awake procedure. We do it bedside. We do give them pain medication before. We do numb up the eyelids, you know, before as well, but just the thought of someone sewing on your eyelids is not the most comfortable.
I remember the first time physical therapists sat me up on the side of the bed.
And I was able to walk over to him and give him a kiss for the first time with him standing up facing me. And that was a big step of knowing that he was strong and that we were going to get through it.
I think it's a great day. And then the next big step was standing up. Could I stand up? When I realized how excited they were that I was able to stand for 1 or 2 minutes, I realized how bad a shape I had been in, how bad a shape I was still in. But seeing their happiness at my progress just doing something so simple, it gave me some hope that, hey, maybe I'm doing better than I should be. Maybe I can get back to what I used to be.
We were greeted by the Bossier Sheriff's Office around the Louisiana state line. They escorted us home the whole way. As we drove into our neighborhood, we had lots of friends and family on the side with posters and cheering and able to greet us on our way to our home.
Once I came home from Houston, I pretty much immediately began outpatient rehab.
When he came to us, he still had some wound care needs left, so that was why I was seeing him. He really had a lot of restrictions with some of his scar tissue that had already developed. Being able to fully bend his knees or his arm, and then strength issues as well, because he had been in a hospital setting and then in a rehab setting for quite a long time. So just building up that strength took a long time.
I still have some skin wounds that need attention. She helps me and keeps an eye on that to make sure that things are headed in the right direction.
There's no greater satisfaction. I was able to formulate a plan, the team was able to deliver, and everybody did everything that they were capable of doing in order to make this happen.
You have to be able to know that you did your best and you leave it on the field per se, and you're able to lay your head down at night, because there's always that next call, right?
I am so very thankful for this hospital. I love the people that cared for him. They don't know how much I love them for helping to care for him, but care for me and my family.
My life's changed for sure. I have daily struggles with mobility. I have daily struggles with heat tolerance. I get stronger every day. I gain more stamina. I'm not letting any of these limitations keep me from living life, but there are certainly limitations still. Tomorrow will come, right? The sun will rise on a new day and life goes on, and look for the best in it. Appreciate it, because it can be taken away in an instant.
What an amazing story of triumph. Clay, we are so happy to have you and Tricia here with us tonight. Would Clay's healers and heroes please stand and gather outside the hall? Let's give them a round of applause. There's someone we all know who understands personally what it means to have a loved one burned in a tragic accident. He wanted to be here with us tonight, but he couldn't because he's busy working on our behalf in Washington, D.C. But he wanted to share a few words with us. Ladies and gentlemen, representing our 4th Congressional District, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson.
Good evening, friends. This is Speaker Mike Johnson in the House. I wish I could be there in Shreveport tonight, but I'm grateful for this opportunity. When I was just 12 years old, my dad, at the time a firefighter in the Shreveport Fire Department, was critically injured in the line of duty. A fire caused by an explosion at the Dixie Cold Storage Facility covered 80% of his body in third-degree burns, and we weren't sure he would survive. By God's grace, he did. And he did largely because of the great work of the LSU Burn Unit, and I have so many memories of that time. While that explosion forever changed the trajectory of my family, we held it together because the community wrapped their arms around us, much like this community in Shreveport-Bossier has wrapped their arms around Clay, Tricia, and the Moock family. There isn't a playbook outlining how to overcome tragedies like these, so we rely upon Scripture and prayer and upon the friends and family and community that surround us to help us move forward. That's why the mission of LSU Health is so important and why I'm grateful to each and every one of you for your devoting your time and resources to aid people like Clay, but also so many others who've been beneficiaries of your exceptional care. And to the healers, the first responders, the healthcare heroes who make up the connective tissue that hold our communities together, I just want to say personally, thank you for your selfless service and all that you do. You are more appreciated than we can ever articulate. God bless you all.
We can't thank Speaker Johnson enough for taking the time to make that video. I know he's very busy this week. I also want to thank Susan Moffitt, who was instrumental in making this happen. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan. While our healers are gathering, I want to draw your attention to the back of your program. If you have been moved by what you have seen tonight and would like to honor these heroes and healers, there is a unique opportunity for you to support the incredible work of our region's only one level trauma center. Transesophageal echocardiograms, or TEEs for short, allow providers to quickly get more accurate, detailed pictures of your heart than a traditional echocardiogram would. This is crucial in trauma, burn, and ICU settings where life-threatening issues need to be quickly assessed to have the best outcomes. Ochsner LSU Health has TEEs on site, but there are not enough to ensure that every ICU and trauma patient has timely access to them. We want to ensure that every patient who needs this life-saving care, just like Mackenzie and Clay, has access to this technology. As you saw tonight, life can change in an instant. And when it does, seconds literally matter. This could be me, it could be you, it could be your spouse, your child, or your loved one. Our goal tonight is to raise the funds needed to bring more of this technology to our trauma center and the patients they serve. You can help make this possible with a gift tonight. I've already made mine. And I have some really exciting news to share with you. Our friends at SWEPCO, through the AEP Foundation, will generously match the first $20,000 that you donate tonight. Thank you, SWEPCO. So we're well on our way to making it possible that we have the equipment that we need to save lives. On the back of your program is a QR code that you can scan to make your gift. You can also text GIVE to the number on the screens. If you prefer to write a check, we have you covered. There are envelopes and giving boxes at the exits. Thank you for partnering with us to invest in the health of our region. At this time, I'd like to invite my colleague, Lisa Babin, Executive Director of Public Affairs and Communications for LSU Health Shreveport, to the stage to present tonight's healers. I'd also like to invite Dr. Gusick and Dr. Harper, Mr. Harper, sorry, Corwin, to join Lisa on stage as well. Lisa.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you to all of you for being here this evening to help us honor these unbelievably deserving individuals. While the healers are gathering, I want to recognize CRM Studios, specifically Greg Lawrence and Kevin Alexander, for producing these outstanding videos. While I'm not supposed to stop here, I really want you to join me in a round of applause for the powerful storytelling this team does. Thank you very much for using the talents that God gave you to retell these stories. An evening for healers literally would not be the same without CRM. It is our hope that this 13th annual Evening for Healers has once again demonstrated what a critical asset LSU Heath Shreveport is to this community. I have the honor and truly the privilege of working with these individuals, many of them each and every day. And I can tell you firsthand how committed they are to training the next generation of healers and delivering life-saving care each and every day. It is now my distinct privilege and true joy to introduce our very deserving honorees this evening. Let's begin by recognizing those involved in Mackenzie's case. From LSU Heath Shreveport, Professor and Chief of Pediatric Cardiology, Dr. Ryan Jones. Associate Professor of Pediatrics, Dr. Marco Quispe. Pediatric Resident, Dr. Langley Sampanero. From Ochsner, LSU Heath Shreveport, Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Karen Alford. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Pacey Bradbury. Respiratory Therapist Rachel Cates. Speech Language Pathologist Inez Esparra. Occupational Therapist Haley Fitzgerald. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Hannah Hawks. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Stephanie Hebron. Physical Therapist Aaron Huey. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Olivia Jones. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Conley McRae. Physical Therapy Assistant Emily Moore. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Lisa Phipps. Respiratory Therapist Troy Schlebon. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Kaylee Smiley. Trauma Pediatric ICU Nurse Lauren Thomas. And from the Ruston Fire Department, Medic Captain Dylan Lockwood. And Medic Captain James Speller. Firefighter EMT Harrison McCaslin. And from Pafford Air One Flight Nurse Jeff Atkins. Flight Paramedic Tony Scalia. And now I'm honored to introduce the healers for Clay's case. From LSU Heath Shreveport Critical Care Fellow, Dr. Ajit Alexander. Assistant Professor of Medicine and Research Director for the Division of Infectious Disease, Dr. Alexander Malik. board-certified clinical specialist in neurologic physical therapy and clinical instructor of physical therapy, Dr. Matthew Martin. Clinical assistant professor of physical therapy and certified wound specialist, Dr. Sarah Murnane. Professor of Clinical Surgery and Associate Director of the Regional Burn Center, Dr. Catherine Richardson. Occupational Therapist and Certified Hand Therapist, Amy Render. Occupational Therapy Assistant, Kara Roan. Professor of Surgery and Director of the Regional Burn Center, Dr. Kevin Satie. Ophthalmology resident, Dr. Nicholas Zonbrucker. And from Ochsner LSU Heath Shreveport, medical ICU nurse, Regan Beckwith. Physical therapist, Jessica Bias. Burn Center nurse, Carol Elliott. Speech-language pathologist, Meredith McLean. Medical ICU nurse, Rhonda Nugent. Medical ICU nurse, Lisa Phipps, who was also a healer with Mackenzie. Wave your hand. You get your second bow here. She had a great year, didn't she? Occupational therapist, Seth Sweeten. Medical ICU nurse, Becky Talbert. Respiratory therapist, Georgia Lee Vernon. And from Life Air Rescue, flight nurse, Miranda Granger. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a rousing round of applause for our 2024 Healers and Heroes. I would now like to invite Mackenzie, Clay, and their families to the stage to say a few words.
Hi everyone. I just want to thank everyone here for honoring both me and Clayton tonight. It's such an honor to be appreciated for our stories. But first, I'd like to thank all the medical professionals that helped us throughout this whole process. It's been like a family, both at everywhere I've been. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. I don't really remember a lot during my time in the hospital, but I remember the last couple of days. I remember having lots of laughs, and they were a big part of my story, and they were very good support for my family. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everything they all did. Anything else? Yeah, but also I want, obviously LSU is great, but gotta go Bulldogs. Sorry.
I'm going to apologize. I lost my voice just last night. On April 19th, 2022, the trajectory of our family's life changed. In life, we don't always understand why things happen, but our family believes that God has ordained our steps. Proverbs 16:9 says, "The heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." I never questioned God regarding why this happened to my husband, but I fully trusted God to carry us through, and he did. I'm very blessed to have my husband here with me this evening after everything he went through. I'm so very grateful that God called each of you into your professions and gave you the knowledge to do what you do in your specific roles. We believe he placed each of you in our lives for this journey, and we are so grateful that he did. Our family knows that it is by God's grace, mercy, and love for us. We are here to celebrate this evening with everyone. Thank you all for the care and support you gave us. I was told throughout our time at the hospital that our journey was a marathon, not a sprint. And what a marathon it has been. Clay is still in the healing phase 2.5 years later and may never heal completely. But because of the critical care he received, he's a walking miracle. I also want to thank our family, friends, and everyone in the community who have prayed for us, loved on us, and supported us throughout this entire journey. Thank you to everyone who took the time to donate blood to help save Clay's life with numerous blood transfusions. Thank you for all you've done for us. I love you all so much.
It doesn't get more inspirational than that, ladies and gentlemen. To Mackenzie and Clay and your families, thank you for allowing us to share your stories and to join you in honoring your caregivers and healers. Healers, on behalf of everyone in this room and those who benefit daily from your expertise, care, and compassion, we sincerely thank you for everything you do. Patients and healers, please remain on the stage for a group photo. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight, for your support. Have a safe trip, and we look forward to seeing you at Healers 2025. Thank you.